Heartwarming revelation, little street girl, 8, helps billionaire cross dangerous road unbeknownst to all. Mia stood at her little stand, her small hands gripping the cool glass pitcher filled with that tangy, sweet lemonade she made every day from scratch. The afternoon sun glinted off her messy pigtails as she called out, "Lemonade. Fresh lemonade. Just $1 a cup." Her voice, bright and full of hope, cut through the bustling noise of cars and chatter on the busy corner where she set up shop in her small American city. Just beyond her simple operation lay her grandmother's tired eyes, watching from their modest porch, always believing that one day Mia would escape this life of daily struggle. Every day, Mia's lemonade was more than just a drink, it was the essence of her dreams, a step towards the better life promised in the bedtime stories her grandmother told. She hoped that someday, she could buy her grandmother a new pair of shoes or perhaps even take her on a vacation. She stirred that pitcher with a focus that belied her young age, her eyes gleaming with unshakable determination. But today was different. Today, the air felt heavier, swirling with the cacophony of honking horns and people rushing by. Suddenly, in the midst of it all, Mia spotted him, Mr. Thompson, the infamous billionaire, his well-tailored suit stark against the chaos. He was hunched over and visibly struggling to navigate the throng. "Excuse me, sir." Mia called, her heart thundering as she dashed across the street. "Let me help you." With surprising courage, she grabbed his hand, and together they ventured across the chaotic asphalt. At first, Mr. Thompson looked stunned. No one ever helped him, they only saw the suit, the money, the reputation. But as they reached the other side, he blinked in disbelief. "Thank you, young lady," he said softly, the harsh lines of his face softening just a touch. Mia, always curious, asked, "Do you have dreams too?" This simple question caught him off guard. He started sharing stories of his own childhood, tales of struggle that mirrored Mia's own. He spoke of how he had fought through hardships, and Mia listened wide-eyed with her heart racing. A bond began to form amid the unexpected kindness. "I'd like to help you further," he said hesitantly. "Perhaps I could mentor you." "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But back in the neighborhood, whispers of scorn began to swirl like autumn leaves in the wind. Why would she hang out with him? Peered the mothers. Friends frowned, labeling her a sellout. One afternoon, during a local fundraiser, words turned sharper, and the tension mounted like a storm. Mia's smile began to falter. She loved her community, but was her dream worth the backlash? As voices rose and opinions clashed, Mia knew she had to gather her courage. Standing at the podium, heart hammering like thunder, she prepared to speak her truth. Would they accept this unlikely friendship, or would they turn their backs on hope, all because of an old man in a suit? Facing the crowd, she took a deep breath, ready to bridge the divide. The air crackled with anticipation, the question lingering, would society embrace the light of hope that Mia so brightly represented, or would judgment choke it back into darkness? Mia's heart raced as she stood before the crowd, their eyes a mix of skepticism and curiosity. She felt the warmth of the stage lights against her skin, but the chill of doubt crept in. What if they didn't understand? What if her words fell flat? Taking a steadier breath, Mia clutched the edge of the podium. I want to tell you about Mr. Thompson," she started, glancing down at her hands, then back up, locking eyes with the concerned faces. "He's not just a billionaire to me. He's a man who listened. He shared his dreams, just like I share mine." A murmur rose from the crowd, some heads shaking slightly in disbelief. They didn't want to hear this. The old whispers echoed around her, creating a fog of uncertainty. But Mia pushed through. And just because he has money doesn't mean he doesn't want to help people like us, like my grandma and me. Her voice grew stronger, fueled by a desire to be understood. He wants to see me succeed, just like you all want the best for your kids. Tears filled her eyes as she spoke of her grandmother, the woman who worked day and night to provide for her. Every day, my grandma works so hard just to make sure I have lemonade to sell. And every cup I pour with love and dreams. She glanced at the corner of the room where she knew her grandmother would be, her heart swelling with pride. The crowd quieted, some shuffling, their expressions shifting from disbelief to contemplation. Couldn't they see? This was about more than just her small stand, it was about hope, a bridge between two worlds. In his stories, I found my voice, Mia continued, her confidence blooming like a flower against the harshness of early winter. Mr. Thompson showed me that kindness can change everything, even when it feels like no one is watching. There were faces softening, nods of agreement creeping in, and a few mothers leaned in closer, their arms crossed, unwinding just a bit. But it's not just about me, Mia urged. What if we all went for our dreams? What if we reached out to people, regardless of how different they are? Can't we find a way to help each other? Isn't that what community is about? The silence became profound, and Mia could feel the surge of something monumental, a shift. Hope crackled in the atmosphere as she sensed the hearts of her neighbors stirring, struggling against long-held judgments. Suddenly, a voice called out from the back. We want to support you, Mia. It was Mrs. Jenkins, the woman known for her tough exterior but warm heart. The crowd erupted in mumblings, some nodding, others starting to cheer. As the voices of support began to swell, Mia felt lighter, as if she were floating on the kind of dream she'd always wished to touch. But as excitement surged and laughter began to fill the room, she caught a glimpse of Mr. Thompson standing at the edge, his face etched with surprise and gratitude. He believed in her, a little girl with big dreams. A moment of understanding passed between them, a mutual acknowledgement of what this moment could mean for both of them. But just as the atmosphere began to brighten, an unfamiliar tension crackled through the throng. A familiar figure stepped forward, arms crossed, a nonchalant smirk on his face. Bradley, the neighborhood bully, the one who had always scoffed at Mia's lemonade stand. This was not over yet, the confrontation was just beginning. Really, Mia? You think he'll save you? What can an old man actually do? His voice cut through the air, and uncertainty rippled across the crowd once more, putting her in the spotlight. Mia's heart sank, but she wouldn't back down. It was time to face a true test of her courage. Could she prove that kindness transcends circumstance? In that moment, she realized she had to answer not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever felt small or unheard. Would she rise to the challenge, or would fear win? The answer hung in the balance, waiting to unfold. Mia took a deep breath, her chest tightening as she met Bradley's mocking gaze. The laughter surrounding her felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter. But this was her moment, and she wouldn't let it slip away. She straightened her shoulders, her voice steadying. Bradley, you don't see what Mr. Thompson does behind the scenes, she said, her eyes burning with determination. He doesn't just have money. He uses it to make a difference, to lift people up. You might think he's just an old man, but maybe you need to see how big his heart is. The crowd fell quiet again, absorbing her words. Bradley scoffed, rolling his eyes, but something in Mia's unwavering tone seemed to challenge him, as if her belief could alter the very fabric of reality around them. Isn't that what we should all be doing? Mia continued, her palms growing clammy against the podium. Helping each other, regardless of who we are. I believe he can inspire us. If we let him, we can change things, right here, right now. Some faces in the crowd lit up like the sunrise breaking through a long night. It was a spark, a flicker of hope igniting among those who felt trapped in cycles of despair, too familiar with the daily grind. Mia could see the potential for something more, a shared dream starting to bloom. Help? Bradley sneered, stepping closer. What do you mean? Do you think he can fix everything just because he's rich? It's not about money, Mia called back, her voice strong. It's about connecting, finding our dreams, supporting each other. That's a nice story, kid, he replied, his tone dripping with skepticism. But life doesn't work like that. Just because you say it doesn't mean it's true. Mia's heart raced, but she was ready to fight. I know life is tough. I live it every day. But it can be better if we want it to be. I believe in dreams, Bradley, and I believe in the power of people. Even someone who has it all can choose to do good. She looked around at the crowd again, finding familiar faces nodding, a flicker of recognition in their eyes. Mr. Thompson was still watching, his expression a mixture of surprise and admiration. Maybe they all needed this someone willing to stand up in the face of doubt. At that moment, a low murmur began to build, a wave of whispered agreement cascading through the crowd. Mia felt the energy shifting, the fear she sensed earlier beginning to dissipate. Enough! Shouted a voice from the back. It was Mrs. Jenkins again. We're tired of the negativity. Mia speaks the truth. We still have a chance to build something here. Yeah! Cried another voice among the crowd. Let her speak. Let us hear what she's really saying. Mia couldn't believe it. Could they really be rallying behind her? The crowd was starting to unify, a chorus of voices rising against doubt. Bradley stood fuming, fists clenching, his confidence wavering as their energy surged. Now, Mia! Someone shouted from the back. Don't stop now. She felt exhilaration wash over her, giving her wings. Mr. Thompson is proof that people can use their gifts for good. She declared. You should hear his stories, the struggles he overcame, the mistakes he made. He's more than his money, and for me, he's a guide. We all could use one. With each word, she saw more support blossom from the crowd, their eyes sparkling with the promise of possibility. Could this really transform into something beautiful? Mia was discovering her voice, discovering confidence she never knew was there. But what would happen to her newfound courage when faced with the side that thrived on bitterness? Mia turned back to Bradley, whose eyes now flickered with annoyance, struggling against the tide turning in her favor. Isn't it time for you to find a better path too, Bradley? She challenged, her heart racing. There's greatness in kindness, even for a bully. As silence enveloped them, the crowd seemed to hold its breath, waiting for Bradley's response. Would he step back to let something beautiful unfold, or cling to the shadows, unwilling to change? Mia's heart raced, ready for whatever came next. A moment. Teetering between fear and hope, and she stood right in the center of it all. The air felt thick with anticipation as everyone waited, the question hanging unresolved. Would they stand together to challenge the old ways, or give in to the negativity that had plagued them for so long? The silence stretched out, heavy and tense, like a storm cloud ready to burst. For a brief moment, Mia held her breath, wondering if her words had struck the right chord. Would Bradley back down, or would he escalate? He finally opened his mouth, a cruel smile pulling at his lips. You really think you can change me, Mia? Change all of us? You're living in a fairy tale. His voice boomed, drawing some nervous laughter from the back. Mia's heart thudded in her chest. She had stepped into the arena, but could she withstand the assault? The crowd, which just moments ago felt like a sea of support, now wavered, unsure how to respond to Bradley's mockery. She had to make them believe. Maybe I'm a dreamer, she said, her voice stronger than before, but dreams are what push us to be better. The words flowed from her, fueled by the energy she felt radiating from the crowd. A shift happened. More people nodded, their expressions shifting from skepticism toward curiosity. Bradley's smirk faltered, and for the first time, uncertainty flashed in his eyes. I'm not saying it's easy, Mia rushed on. We're all scared and tired. I've felt it too. But this is us together. We're not just dealing with life. We have the power to shape our tomorrow. With every word, she saw Bradley's confidence start to unravel. It was as if her voice was a thread, pulling at the fabric of his bravado. The crowd's energy surged again, rising like a wave ready to crash against the shore. "Listen to her!" cried a woman in the front row, her voice imbued with passion. "We are not alone. If we can come together, we can make an impact." "Yeah. What do we have to lose?" shouted a man, clenching his fists in solidarity. Mia could hardly believe what she was witnessing. Their voices, united in spirit, spoke of strength, of resilience. Even in the face of Bradley's doubt, she could feel this beautiful current weaving among them, pulling them together. "Bradley, I'm not telling you to change overnight," she said, locking eyes with him. "I believe everyone can grow, even you. We just have to choose every day to support one another." He looked visibly shaken now. She had thrown the gauntlet down, and the tides were shifting. But Mia knew this wasn't finished. She could still feel Bradley's dark energy lingering, it clung to him like a shadow. "Why would I listen to a kid?" Bradley spat, his voice cracking. The bravado slipped away, replaced with anger and confusion. "Because," Mia said thoughtfully, "kids see the world differently. We don't believe greatness is tied to wealth or status. Greatness lies in our actions, in our kindness, our willingness to stand by each other, and lift each other up." With that, Mrs. Jenkins started clapping, slowly at first, then gaining momentum. Soon, the sound echoed through the crowd, like thunder rolling across a summer sky. The warmth of it enveloped Mia, a sweet reminder that she wasn't standing alone. Mia's heart pounded as she watched faces transform into determination. More voices added to the applause, building an uplifting crescendo that filled the air with hope. Even Mr. Thompson too raised his hands, grinning broadly, his approval making Mia's spirit soar. But just then, a sudden shout broke through the celebration. "Stop this nonsense!" Mia turned, breath hitching as she recognized Mary, Bradley's relentless ally, pushing her way through the crowd. "You all are deluding yourselves," she called out, her voice shrill with defiance. "What difference does it make? We'll always be stuck where we are." The swell of unity she felt started to falter, uncertainty creeping back in. Mia shook her head, determination reigniting within her. "It's not about being stuck, it's about believing we can find a way forward. Overcoming obstacles is part of the journey." Mary stepped closer, anger sparking in her eyes. "And you think your fairy tale is going to save us? You're just a kid." "Maybe so," Mia replied, her voice unwavering. "But kids can change the world. And maybe it's time for us to start believing together." As Mia faced Mary and the crowd, she could feel the weight of their collective gaze. Victory felt tantalizingly close, yet the battle was far from over. Would Mia's courage spark the change, or would the anger in the crowd grow into chaos? Mia took a deep breath, her eyes scanning for allies. Hope surged again, yet it came with the weight of uncertainty. Would they stand as one and push forward, or gather in doubt behind the shadows? With every heart-pounding second, she wondered if their unity could withstand Mary's challenge. Mia took another breath, her heart racing as she locked eyes with Mary. She could see the fire in her opponent's gaze, the way anger danced in her stance. Yet this was her moment, and she refused to back down. "Why can't we just try?" Mia shouted, her voice rising above the murmurs. "What have we got to lose by believing in each other?" The crowd remained silent for a heartbeat, considering her words. Mia could sense the fear and hesitation, but also a flicker of hope igniting in the back of some eyes. Would they follow her call? Mary scoffed, throwing her hands in the air dramatically. "You think a few words are enough? Look around. This place is broken. It's always going to be broken." As if on cue, one of the older men in the audience spoke up, "But if we don't try, we'll always be broken." Mia felt her heart swell. That was it. He had grasped the essence of what she was saying. One voice added to another, and more people started murmuring in agreement, a ripple of realization weaving through the crowd. Mary's face turned crimson, the heat of anger turning to frustration. She shot daggers at Mia. "This is ridiculous. You don't know the first thing about the real world." But the crowd was shifting like sand beneath Mary's feet. The timid smiles began to appear, hands that had been clenched in disbelief were now opening students, parents, families who had felt isolated and unable to fight back. Mia couldn't help but smile, emboldened by their responses. "Yes, I don't have all the answers," she said, pointing to the crowd, "but we're all in this together. It's not about being a giant. It's about the little things, how we treat each other, how we lift each other up in tough times." Light laughter erupted from a group of friends nearby, their spirits buoyed by her earnestness. Mia felt the connection growing, it was electric. Kids see the world with possibility. Mia continued. "We don't think change is impossible. We see the neighborhood, the garden, and the hands working together to plant seeds that bloom into something beautiful. Don't we want that?" A girl stepped forward, something in her eyes sparkling with hope. "I want that. I want our schools and streets to be safe." Mia took a step closer to the edge of the crowd, accentuating her vulnerability. "And I want to help. It's not just on us to change our fate. It's on all of us." The rumbles of agreement started to rise again, filling the space around her with optimism as it began to chip away at Mary's unyielding facade. "Look around," Mia urged. "Everyone here matters. Together, we can be stronger. We can start something new." Mary stumbled back, her expression shifting from anger to confusion. "You really think they'll follow some dream you have?" "They are already doing it," Mia responded softly, her voice steady and confident. The crowd was warming to her hope. But the storm wasn't over yet. Just then, Bradley, who had been silent until now, stepped forward, his brow furrowed as he watched the transformation of the crowd. Mia felt the tension radiating from him. "So, what do you want us to do?" he asked, his voice low. "Just magically change overnight?" Mia met his gaze, 1,000 thoughts pressing against her mind. Would this be the moment where everything falls back into doubt, or could there finally be a breakthrough? "No," she replied gently but firmly. "Change is a journey, not a destination. We can start by being there for one another, one step at a time." Hope hung in the air, teetering on the edge of possibility. Mia's heart raced at the thought. Could this be the turning point they needed? Would they join her in not just dreaming, but taking action? As she looked around at their faces, she felt a sense of urgency. Each second felt like a lifetime. A new era was teetering on the brink, ready to burst forth, but would the darkness hold sway, or would they rise together? Just then, the crowd's murmurs intensified, curiosity igniting in the air. A decision was about to be made. Mia held her breath, the murmurs rising like waves crashing against a shore. Each small agreement fueled her determination, but she sensed a storm brewing within the crowd. Mary took a step forward, brushing back her hair, a grin on her face that held no warmth. "Fine, let's say you do want to change things." "How?" "With fairy dust?" she challenged, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "You really think that a bunch of speeches is going to fix years of neglect?" The laughter that burst from the crowd felt hollow. Mia's heart sank. Mary's words were sharp, cutting through the hope she'd been trying to build with every heartbeat. But she couldn't let that stop her. She had to fight for what she believed. "No one said it would be easy," Mia yelled back. "But if we start small together, then maybe we can build something. Something real. There are so many reasons to come together, not just to tear each other down." Silence followed. The tension was palpable. Mia could see some in the crowd nodding, contemplating what she had said. This was the moment she needed to seize. "Look, I know we're scared. I know change is hard. But isn't the fear of staying the same even scarier? Her heart drummed loud in her chest, echoing within the silence. We don't have to keep living this way. A voice piped up from the back, hesitant yet steady. What if we found a way to make our neighborhoods better through activities, community meetings, partnerships? We can work together, too. The crowd seemed to shift again, energized by the suggestion. Mia leaned into the wave of agreement. Yes. We can start community gardens, or clean up our parks. Every small action counts and adds to the bigger picture. We can meet and dream, and then turn those dreams into projects. Bradley stood silent still, brows furrowed but now with a hint of intrigue. Okay, but how do we get started? He asked, his voice rising slightly. Mia felt a rush of adrenaline. This was it. She was on the edge of something important. Let's create a meeting. We can all get together tonight, at the community center. It'll be our chance to talk, share ideas, and start planning. The crowd began buzzing again, as conversations sparked like fireflies in the twilight. Would this be the catalyst they needed? While the excitement bubbled, Mia felt Mary's presence looming. The girl's anger hadn't dissipated, it had transformed into a bubbling rage of something darker. You think you can just take over? Just create your little utopia? Mia took a step back, the energy in her faded momentarily as she glanced at Mary. This isn't about taking over, it's about coming together. We can find common ground. Mary stepped forward, baring her teeth as if to challenge Mia directly. You think you know what's best, but this isn't some fairy tale, Mia. It's the real world. People won't magically follow you just because you say so. Mia's heart raced. A sense of urgency clutched at her. She had to show them. She searched the crowd for encouragement, finding eyes of support, wonder, and some doubt. But could one person truly spark something real? Maybe. Maybe not. But if we don't at least try, then we're still stuck in this darkness. She shot back, the fire igniting again within her. Let's trust ourselves to take that step. The murmurs they shared felt like a heartbeat growing louder. Each person added their own pulse, and behind her, she could feel the weight of the crowd shifting. Mary was still there, but this time, there was less certainty in her stance. A boy nearby raised a fist. I'm in. Another shouted, count me in. That single spark ignited others, voices rising in numbers. Mia felt a surge of hope and loyalty enveloping her, threading through every person standing there. Just then, just before the meeting could ignite into full action, something unexpected disrupted the moment. A loud crash echoed nearby, rattling the calm that had just begun to build. They all turned, eyes widening, hearts pounding, as a group of teens rushed past, uncertain chaos in their wake. Mia's stomach flipped. What was happening now? Would they lose their chance to come together? Or would this newfound connection withstand yet another test? The crowd was still buzzing, but now they were drawn by the urgency of the loud crash, and Mia realized this moment could shape everything. Mia's heart raced as the crowd's focus shifted. The loud crash had pulled everyone's attention away from her words, like a magician's trick that left the audience spellbound. She knew she had to act fast or risk losing the small momentum they'd built. What was that? She called out, trying to sound calm, but panic flickered in her voice. The gathered crowd seemed ready to disperse, nervous energy buzzing in the air like electricity. Just then, a tall figure emerged from the chaos, a boy, maybe 14, his clothes torn and muddy, his face smeared with dirt. He hurried past them, followed closely by a gang of his friends, giggling and hollering as they darted toward the playground. The loud crash, a thrown trash can, had been part of their wild romp, a moment of recklessness. Mia's instinct kicked in. Hey! Wait! She shouted, rushing towards them. As she jogged, she could feel the crowd's hesitant eyes on her, waiting. Curiosity mounted, and a few brave souls followed, inching toward the ruckus. She caught up to the boys at the playground. "What are you doing?" she asked, breathless. The older boy turned, eyes wide with a mix of surprise and mischief. "Just having some fun. Lighten up, will ya?" He was clearly daring her but seemed to sense something deeper in her voice. "Fun or not, we want to make this place better, right?" she replied, her heart pounding. "Look at the mess you just made. If we're going to have a community, we can't just trash it." The boys paused, glancing at one another, uncertainty sparking between them. Mia knew she had a choice. She could either berate them for their behavior or find a way to involve them in the conversation they had started with the crowd. "Why not help us out?" she suggested, her voice softer now. "You'd be perfect for it. Imagine not just cleaning up, but creating fun things for everyone to enjoy here. Games, activities, whatever you want." A flicker of interest crossed the leader's face, making Mia's heart swell with hope. "Like what?" he asked, crossing his arms defiantly but with curiosity. "Like a neighborhood event. We could set up games, or a fair. You guys could help run it." Mia's mind raced with possibilities. "We can all work together. The laughter doesn't have to come from chaos, it can come from something that brings people together." Behind her, she felt the crowd begin to move closer, intrigued by the unfolding scene. This was the pivot point they needed. The boy's expression shifted from defiance to contemplation. Laughter and excitement danced on the edge of his lips. "You think we could really do that?" "Definitely," Mia replied, her voice steady. "But it starts right now. Come on, be part of something bigger. We're not just talking about cleaning up, we're talking about building a community." In that moment, Mia realized it was about more than just her words. It was about connection, a shared understanding that every single one of them wanted to be involved, wanted to belong. The boy hesitated for a moment longer before nodding. "All right, let us see what we can do." As the crowd cheered, a wave of energy flooded through Mia. They were no longer just onlookers but participants, each person ready to craft their vision of a kinder neighborhood together. The joy spread, laughter replacing the earlier tension, sparking a movement right there in the park. But just as the adrenaline began to settle, an older woman pushed through the crowd, her face lined with worry. "Mia. You need to come with me, it's urgent." Mia's stomach dropped. What now? Was this trouble for her or an opportunity to push even further? The smile on her face faltered, confusion settling in as she turned to meet the woman's eyes, ready for whatever was about to unfold. Mia felt the weight of the crowd's anticipation hovering in the air, a mixture of excitement and concern flooding her senses. The older woman grabbed her wrist gently but urgently, pulling her slightly away from the throng of curious neighbors. "It's about your brother," she whispered, her voice lined with urgency and unease. Mia's heart sank. Her brother, Jake, was supposed to be at school. What could be so urgent? Panic clawed at her throat, but she pushed it down to keep her composure. "What happened?" she managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. "Just come with me. I'll explain on the way," the woman urged, glancing back at the gathering crowd, their murmurs fading into a murmur of worry. Mia took a breath, glancing back over her shoulder at the boys and neighbors who had just begun to open a dialogue. She felt torn, a pull to stay with the momentum they had just created. People were finally coming together. But the concern etched on the woman's face pulled harder. "Okay," Mia said, steeling herself. "Lead the way." They hurried down the path, the sound of laughter fading behind them. As they walked, Mia's mind raced with possibilities. Had something happened to Jake? Was he hurt? The images flooded her thoughts, her little brother, sprawled out on the playground, laughing, playing, full of life. "Mia," the woman said, breaking the silence before Mia could spiral into worse thoughts. "I saw him at the corner of 5th and Main. He was trying to get across the street alone." "What?" Mia exclaimed, her heart pounding as they turned the corner. Why was he by himself? He knows he can't do that. We tried to keep an eye on him, but he slipped away. You know how kids are, the woman said, concern lacing her tone. As they reached the intersection, Mia's pulse raced, the world around her blurring with worry. They paused at the streetlight, and she looked around frantically, but there was no sign of Jake. Was he scared? Alone? Clenching her fists, she took a deep breath, willing herself to calm down. What if he? Don't think like that, the woman interjected sharply. He's okay. I know it. Mia desperately searched the faces passing by, a growing sense of dread wrapping around her heart. Jake! Jake! She called out, her voice rising above the city sounds, panic flashing through her. Then, from a distance, she spotted the small figure. There he was, standing by the crosswalk, glancing up and down the street, his curly hair swaying in the breeze like a flag waving on a mountain. Relief washed over her, but it was quickly mixed with anger. Jake! She shouted, forcing her legs to run toward him. Jake turned, his little face breaking into a smile when he saw her. Mia! I just wanted to see the candy store. He hopped on his feet, excitement bubbling over like soda in a shaken can. Mia scooped him up into her arms without a second thought, squeezing tightly as if that alone could keep him safe. You scared me to death. What were you thinking? You can't just. I wanted to cross the road. You said we could get candy together. He replied innocently, not fully grasping the magnitude of what just happened. As she set him down, Mia knelt in front of him, her heart still racing. I know, but you need to listen when I tell you not to go alone. There are dangers, Jake. You could have gotten hurt. His smile wavered, and for a moment, Mia saw the flicker of understanding in his eyes. She felt a stab of guilt in the midst of her fear. Had she been so caught up with her own plans that she hadn't made time to explain how to stay safe? Just then, she noticed the older woman watching them, her arms crossed but a soft smile on her lips, as if she understood the burdens of sisterhood. The crowd that had gathered around her moments ago had now dispersed, leaving only the echoes of adventure and camaraderie in the air. But just as Mia opened her mouth to reassure Jake, a loud crash sounded from the other end of the street, twisting her stomach into knots once more. What was it now? She stood up, holding her brother's hand tightly, both of them turning their heads. Uncertainty swirling inside her once again. Let us go see. Jake exclaimed, pulling her toward the noise. But would it lead to another moment where they both felt alive? Or something worse? Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this day was far from over, and what lay ahead would test their newfound connection even more. Mia felt the chaos in the air pull them forward, a mix of curiosity and dread. As they moved closer to the noise, the sounds of metal clashing and people shouting filled her ears. She clutched Jake's hand tightly, wishing she could shield him from whatever awaited them. Stay close to me, she instructed, feeling like she was splintering between the roles of protective sister and weary adult. Jake nodded, eyes wide, innocence still shining through the unease. As they rounded the corner, they came to a scene that froze Mia's heart. A car, crumpled against a lamppost, oil pooling on the pavement. People surrounded it, some on their phones, others helping a figure on the ground. A moment ago, it was just a vibrant street, now, it felt like a fracture in time, a snapshot of chaos. Mommy! A child cried, standing a few feet away, staring with a confusion that mirrored Mia's own feelings. Mia knelt down, drawing Jake close. It's okay. We're just going to see if we can help, she whispered, even as her heart raced at the thought of danger. They needed to understand the situation but also to remain safe. The crowd parted slightly, revealing a woman in a business suit, sitting against the sidewalk, her face a mask of pain and disbelief. Jake tugged on Mia's sleeve. Is she okay? Mia felt a wave of nausea. I don't know, buddy. Then, without warning, Jake took a step forward. Mia, look. He pointed toward a tiny dog, disoriented, darting back and forth near the wreckage. It was frantic, yipping and confused, as if it couldn't find its way home. "Jake, stay here," Mia called, but he was already moving closer. Before she could comprehend, he was running towards the little creature, crouching down to reassure it. "Hey, little guy. It's okay." Mia's heart leaped into her throat. "Jake, no." But as she rushed forward, the sight of her brother and the pup's tail wagging hesitantly stopped her in her tracks. The boy gathered the scared dog in his arms, whispering to it like a soothing balm against a burning wound. "You're safe now, I won't let anything happen to you." In that moment, time shattered. The absurdity of the situation shifted the air, as if the world around them had paused to take in this small act of kindness amidst the chaos. Mia watched, torn between fear and pride. Was it foolish to let him help? The crowd had settled, eyes drawn to Jake's spontaneous act of tenderness. They forgot the reason for the noise. He simply became the light of humanity standing against a backdrop of devastation. Then someone emerged from the throng, a man dressed in a formal suit stained with sweat and worry. He rushed towards his dog, who had sprinted to the safety of Jake's arms. "Ginger!" he shouted, relief washing over him as he knelt to scoop the little dog from Jake. "Oh, thank you," the man breathed, his voice shaking with emotion. Jake smiled proudly, exuding a sense of accomplishment. He'd saved something, even if it had come in the midst of fear. But that moment barely registered in Mia's mind. As Jake looked up at the man with innocent joy, she felt a twinge deep in her gut. Who was he? Why was he so frantic? And could this be the connection within this chaotic moment that would change their day? The man turned to Mia, eyes widening in recognition. "You're that girl!" he exclaimed, catching her off guard. What did he mean? "Wait, what do you mean?" Mia asked, her voice trembling with curiosity. Before he could explain, the air grew heavy again like a storm brewing. Mia felt the unease wash back over her. Was the small light of hope extinguished just as quickly as it had ignited? She tightened her grip on Jake, her head spinning with questions. What did this stranger know? And what else lay ahead for them on this day of unexpected turns? Mia stared at the man, her heart beating like a drum in her ears. He looked familiar, yet she couldn't place him. The crowd around them had dissolved into a murmur, ears perked, attention shifting to her. Jake, still cradling the dog, looked up at her, the innocence in his eyes illuminating something profound in her heart. "Yeah, you're the lemonade girl, right?" The man leaned closer, his voice softening as he observed her. "I've heard about you." Mia felt a warm flush creep over her. "You, what do you mean?" she stammered. "I saw you at that fundraiser." "You spoke so passionately," he said, his tone almost reverent. "I wanted to believe in something again because of your words." Before Mia could respond, the man continued, "I was there when Mr. Thompson offered to help you. He has been an inspiration for many of us, but not everyone sees it. He is trying to bring change, and you're part of that. I just got lost in my own worries." Mia's heart swelled. She thought of the unforgiving comments from the neighborhood, the doubts lingering in the air. "But it feels like no one is willing to see the good," she said, finding her voice steadier now. "We need to bridge our divides, but how can I do that?" The man shrugged, a flicker of hope lighting his eyes. "You're already doing it, Mia. You're inspiring people to care again. That matters." In that moment, something shifted inside her. She could see the crowd starting to rekindle its energy, the whispers turning into conversations of action. People were gathering together, sharing ideas, recognizing the potential for real change. Fear began to leave its grip on Mia, washed away by the tide of connection. She turned back to the crowd, her brother still holding the dog, and felt the exhilaration around her rise, beckoning them. "Together, we can help each other," she called out, raising her hand. "We can make this place feel safe, joyful, and filled with the spirit of community again. All of us have a part to play. With each voice lifting to join hers, Mia experienced a rush of belonging. The crowd started to chant, "Change together. Change together." The words built a rhythm, an anthem of unity that sang in her heart. Mia glanced at Jake, beaming as he clutched the small dog tightly. Despite the chaos, he was radiating a light of joy. At that moment, she realized that even in the midst of uncertainty, they were not alone. They had each other, and that was a powerful place to start. "Let's take this energy to the community center tonight," she shouted, feeding off the excitement. "We'll come together to sort out our ideas and see what actions we can take." The crowd erupted into cheers, voices echoing their eagerness to unite. This was what Mia had wished for. The hesitation melted away, and hope was leaping into the air, mingling with laughter. Just then, she felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to see Mr. Thompson standing behind her, his expression filled with pride. "You did well, Mia. This is just the beginning." "Thank you for believing in me," she replied, suddenly feeling like she could embrace her dreams without hesitation. "You've shown me that everyone can help." As birds soared high above, she felt a sense of resolve. Fingers intertwined, she looked at Jake. "Let us go home, little buddy. We've got a lot of work to do." Together, they moved towards their community, their little part of the world opening up with bright possibilities. Knowing challenges lay ahead didn't stop Mia, it seemed to only enhance the excitement bubbling in her heart. They were ready to face it together, stronger than ever. With Mr. Thompson and the kind stranger at their side, the crowd followed, a diverse tapestry of individuals united under a shared vision. Mia could feel it. She was holding her dreams tightly now, intertwined with the dreams of her community. And although she knew the road would not always be smooth, they were no longer lost in doubt. Instead, they were marching forward, step by steady step, toward an even brighter future. This was the moment of profound change, standing on the brink of real transformation. Now, listen up. Subscribe immediately to the channel. You need to be part of our journey and not miss out on the next exclusive stories coming your way. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and stay connected with us. Comment below about your thoughts and feelings on this ending. We want to hear from you. And if you truly believe in this transformation, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the incredible power of community and kindness. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support means everything.